In this video, we are going to look at the crazy world of multiple offers. Yes, they are back, but I think the main important questions are they here to stay, and why is this happening all of a sudden? By the way, if you guys need any help buying or selling, you can reach me here, but that's not why you're here. So the reason I'm making this video is this chart here. I have been keeping track of how many homes are selling above list price for the last year, and this is what has happened. At the peak of the market last year, like January, February, and March, this is what was happening. Like almost 8 out of 10 listings were selling above list price. Like Durham, for example, was at 91%, and Halton was at 82%, and Peel was at 89%. So pretty much 9 out of 10 listings, like Toronto, 63%. Then it dropped, like this is the winter of last year and January of this year, to drop to 14%, 13%. 17% for Toronto, 17. But now look at this. This is the middle of the month. This is March 21st. And the numbers are starting to climb back up. They went from 13% to 23 to 28. Toronto is from 17% all the way to 35%. And Durham went from 29% of homes selling above list price all the way to half of the listings. Half the listings that come up on the Toronto Real Estate Board, at least in the month of March, are selling above list price. Now, we are going to look at, is this the new trend? Like, is this how things are going to be conducted in real estate for the next little while until the market drops again? And how do multiple offers happen? So if you are not familiar to buying and selling in the last 7-8 years, you might not be familiar with this concept. So I'm going to just give you guys a quick overview of how they happen. And more importantly, why is this happening all of a sudden? Like the market had been on a decline, and why is this happening? So we're going to look at a few possible reasons. And at the end, I'm going to give you guys some advice that I've picked up over the years, how to deal with multiple offers for buyers and sellers. Basically, going to try to keep myself neutral and just present the information. Okay, let's look at how are they happening. I mean, how do they happen? What is a multiple offer? How do they get set up? Basically, for example, if you own a house, let's say the market value. By the way, if you've done this before, like if you sold and bought before, you're familiar with this. So I hope I don't bore you. I'm going to go quick. If the market value for a house is $1 million, it's pretty easy. It's not rocket science. Basically the house will get listed for 750 or something like that, 800, 850, whatever the number happens to be. And they will say no offers for 5 to 7 days. Like for example, no offers till Saturday, 6 p.m., the next weekend. And sometimes they will put, the sellers will consider preemptive or bully offers. Basically something like, if the seller will be happy with $1 million, if before Saturday, let's say on Wednesday evening, a buyer sends in an offer for $1.1 million and the seller's happy, they're like, yeah, I'll take it. I don't need to wait till Saturday, and the deal's done. And the buyer got the house on Wednesday and didn't have to compete with 10 other offers till on Saturday. So the hope on Saturday night is that you've had so many people through, so much interest. The hope is you get 5, 10, 15 offers, whatever it happens to be. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this can actually backfire. So there's a time and place for everything. There's a house and price for everything. So the idea is to be able to reach $1 million or more, ideally more if you are on the seller's side. And that is basically how multiple offers happen. Like I said before, it's not complicated. It's not rocket science. But why are they happening right now? Like what happened? The market had been declining. What happened all of a sudden? I'm not an economist, so it's not like I have some insider information. I did not study some charts for like 30, 40 hours, but this is my feeling of why this is happening all of a sudden. The rates are on pause. So because the Bank of Canada paused the rates, a lot of people that had been waiting on the sidelines, just waiting for the rates to keep going up, prices keep going down. So they have decided to jump back into the market because they're like, you know what, okay, the rates are on pause. I'll just start buying right now. So those people are back in the market. So that is creating extra demand. Second reason is spring is always the busiest season. I could go back 100 years. You will always find the spring is always the busiest season of the year, and winter is always the slowest. Third reason, which is kind of risky. This is where you have to be careful. This is where you have to do your own research. Some people, well, a lot of people are believing this is the rock bottom. So that's where you have to be very, very careful, because in case this is not the rock bottom, it could be, it could not be, right? No one can predict the future. But if this is not the rock bottom, let's say the market drops again in 3-4 months, and by the time you're ready to close, the market drops $60,000-$70,000. Are you able to cover the difference in case the appraisal comes in low? So that's the kind of stuff you need to be discussing with your agent. And a lot of agents are super smart, honest people. They will give you good advice. This is the question I think you guys need to be aware of. Is this the new norm? Because if you are a buyer, you are not going to be happy with this. Because what I find is buyers don't mind competing with other people, because they know if the house is in a good location and the house is priced right, chances are there's more than one person interested, right? So buyers don't usually have a problem competing with other people. What they have a problem with is blind bidding. No buyer likes to have that feeling in the back of their mind, like, okay, even if they got the house, they like to know, did I beat the second offer by like 5,000 or 200,000? I think that's what bothers a lot of buyers the most, is the blind bidding. Whether that changes or doesn't change, we'll have to wait and see. But that's what I hear from the buyers in the last 10 years. Like, I wish we knew what we're competing against. And so you don't have that feeling in the back of your mind. Could I have gone up 3,000 more and gotten the house, or did I lose the house by $80,000? So that's why buyers hate this. Sellers, obviously, they are in the driver's seat, so they don't hate it, obviously. Who doesn't like getting 10 offers on their house? Feels good. You get a higher price. Second reason, well, the first reason is sellers have gotten used to this idea of multiple offers. So anytime you go see a seller now, they will be like, hey, are you familiar with this? Do you think it's a good idea? We should try this. There's a market, and there's like a time and place for everything. I'll be honest, like when the market was busy, I was doing the same thing. When I was on the seller side, your duty is to get them the best possible price. So one of the best ways was do a multiple offer setup. So I'm not trying to act all high and mighty, oh, don't do this, don't do that. That's not the point of this video, because, who am I to tell somebody how to run their own business? But so the sellers have gotten used to this idea. So they will always bring it up, like, hey, should we try this? So discuss that with your agent, see if this is a good idea, because it's not always a good idea for every type of house, every type of price range. Sometimes it can backfire. Second reason is a lot of agents prefer this route. I've talked to both sides. I've talked to a whole bunch of agents. Some agents don't like this, because let's say you're on the seller side and you get 10 offers. Only one agent at the end of the night is going to be happy with you. They'll be like, hey, oh yeah, thanks, thanks, congratulations, we got the house. The other 9 are not going to be happy. And 6, 7 of them will be like, hey, congrats, no problem, good luck with everything, we'll see you next time. There's going to be 2 or 3 that are so upset, they are going to try to find out if some scam happened. Did you sell it to your cousin or coworker or a family member? So there's always that side headache. But there are a lot of agents who prefer this route, because let's face it, if agents are being honest with each other, doing it this way is easier than the traditional route. It's less work. Basically, there's a whole bunch of work at the beginning of the listing, marketing it, staging it, photos, ads, all that kind of stuff. And then there's work at the end of the listing where you are working on offer night, try to compete against each other, trying to bid them up and all that kind of stuff. But it's still less work than sitting on the market for 30, 40 days and then wondering if the house is going to sell. You're knocking on doors, making calls. So I know I probably get some pushback for saying this, but this is easier than the other traditional route. I'm not saying this is no work. There is work involved, but it is still less work than the other traditional route. And agents who have been around 15, 20 years, they will tell you the same thing. Now, some advice for buyers and sellers. This is, I think, very important, because like I said before, unless the market goes on a decline again, I think multiple offers are going to be here to stay, at least for the next little while. We're just going to have to see how the market reacts after spring. If it starts going down again, or if it just flattens out, we'll just wait and see. Buyers. Ask your agent for advice. Ask them how to handle multiple offers because a lot of agents have a lot of knowledge and experience. There's some who don't, let's be honest. But most agents, they know what they're doing. So they will tell you the best ways to handle multiple offers. So I think the best source to get information from is your own agent. Secondly, this is the most important because this is where you can get stuck. Ask your bank, make sure your bank knows, okay, I'm going to be competing and chances are if I have to on offer night, are you comfortable with me going in with no financing condition? If the bank says no, do not go in firm because the bank is obviously having some doubts in getting you financing. If the bank says yes, make sure you guys discuss each scenario is different. Like I said, talk to your bank, talk to your agent. The last thing you want is you go in firm, no financing, no inspection, and then the bank tells you a week later, oh, you're not getting financing. We found some problem with your credit check. So make sure 1000% the bank gives you the thumbs up before you guys submit a firm offer. And thirdly, make sure you're comfortable with going in firm, right? You don't want to be having sleepless night wondering, should I have skipped the inspection or not? And am I going to get financing or not? So make sure you're comfortable. Also ask yourself, what if the market tanks? What if the market drops like $50, $60, $80,000 by the time you're ready to close and the appraisal comes in low? Are you okay with that? Are you comfortable making up the difference in case appraisal comes in low? Fifth one, I think this is important because I see all the time, some people get carried away with emotion and it's easy to do when you're, sometimes like you want the house, your family loves the house. And sometimes you get carried away. So instead of $1 million, you get caught up in the excitement. Your agent calls you, hey, we're in the top 3, but the agent said we're still not good enough. We got to bump up our price. You get carried away. You're like, okay, whatever, 1.1, 1.2. Make sure you're okay with that number and make sure you can come up with the difference if, appraisal comes in low. So what I would recommend is to have one number in your mind. And if you lose it above that number, you lose it, on to the next one. I think that's the best way to keep emotions out of it. Sellers, it's a little bit easier for you. Ask your agent for advice, same thing. They will tell you how the multiple offers are going to be conducted, what's involved, and how to deal with them, how many are coming in, all that kind of stuff. So your agent will be the best source for information. Secondly, enjoy it. This is what you wanted. You are in the driver's seat, obviously. If you priced it below market value, chances are you're going to get multiple offers and chances are the house will sell that night. Now, third one, most important, which I see some agents make mistakes all the time. Not all agents, like most agents know what they're doing, but I've seen some agents make this mistake. If you get a bully offer, let's say you're holding offers on Saturday night and you get an offer on Wednesday and you were okay with $1 million, right? For example. You've had 30 showings on the house. You get an offer on Wednesday night and it is for $1,050,000. You're like, wow, great. An extra $50,000, right? I'll take it. Sounds good. Yeah, sounds great. But a lot of agents, what I've noticed is they will put in the listing, the seller has the right to accept a bully offer without notice. Basically saying that somebody calls in on Thursday and says, hey, I got an offer. I'm coming in with 1.1. Oh, sorry, we already sold it yesterday. We wrote in the listing without notice. Ask your agent, if an offer comes in, it's a bully offer, ask them to notify other agents. If you had 30 showings, who knows, somebody else might be waiting till Saturday with an offer for 1.2 to present on Saturday. So if your agent calls everyone and says, hey, we got an offer, if you're interested, call me back, I'll give you 2 hours. Who knows, that offer might come in for 1.2, right? And that way you just made an extra $150,000. What I see some agents do is, I don't know if it's laziness, I don't know what the reason might be. They say, we have the right to accept without notice. It never makes sense to me because how do you know one of those other 30 is not preparing a stronger offer, a higher offer, and waiting till Saturday? So ask your agent to notify agents that have shown the property that we got an offer. If you have something, bring it to me. So that is my advice on multiple offers for buyers and sellers. Like I said, I want to keep my sales bias out of it. I try not to take sides. So if you are a seller, easy work. Yeah, enjoy the ride. if you had some regrets about not being able to sell it last year, when the market was really good, this is your second mini chance. Obviously, it's nothing like last year, but this is at least something. At least you're not, going to be on sitting there for like 60 days. Um, I don't know how long this will last. So if you are a seller, all things being equal, if you're just waiting, I could sell today or 6 months later. We don't know what the market's going to be like in 6 months. At least right now, the market seems to be in your favor. It might decline, it might not. We don't know. So this might be a good time to sell the house. But keep in mind, you also have to buy in this market too. So don't just get excited, sell it, and then, the market I'm moving to is actually doing better than this one. So I actually ended up losing money. So sometimes that can happen too. If you are a buyer, hopefully this video helped you guys a bit. But yeah, don't get caught up in the excitement, and good luck out there. Thanks. See you.